Sorry, folks, we're having some technical difficulties. We did have a dropout, but we're going to get right back into the Q&A here because there's a lot that we got to get over. And I know the question about Rojo is always something that comes up because it's just unfulfilled potential. We want to see that come through because he could be a player that makes that the biggest portion of his game. And I do think that that's real. I'm going to let everybody know that we are changing over right now to anybody who's still in that previous stream. We can get them back and going. Looks like people are coming over here now. Hey, you never know what happened. KL, thank you for being here. We're still going to get everybody's questions in and do all that stuff. So don't you guys worry about that. We got all that squared away. In fact, luckily, when the stream crashed, we got a different little cam. I can probably add that in and share my screen from the other one. But we were talking about Rojo. And so, yeah, awesome. You are absolutely right, dude. You never know what's going to happen. So we are back. We will continue answering all of your questions and your super chats. So apologies. But yes, Rojo, the problem that everybody has about Rojo is we want to see him because he's got potential. And without seeing the evidence in the regular season, I know people had some good days in training camp, a couple of bad ones. It all comes together. And I think everybody just wants to see it pay off. And so I understand the desire. I just don't think they're going to pull the trigger on it. I think that's what it comes down to.
Yeah, it's going to be if Clyde or if Pacheco gets hurt. That's what this is for. That's just what it is.
Don't worry, Jaden. I got your super chat. And by the way, Ryan White was looking to connect with you about his as well. So make sure we try that. I'm going to have to share a screen is what it's going to be. And then I will show you guys how this works because this is going to be kind of silly. But yeah, all the super chats are still there. We're going to get there. Dan's going to talk to Julia about this one. What do you read off of Chanel after this game that I think he played really, really well in?
Yeah, I think the game's starting to slow down a little bit for him, and thank you for the question, Julia. I think that's the biggest thing that I'm seeing from him is, one, he's being used to his strengths, much like Nick Bolton. Go downhill and attack. Like, that's what you're being asked to do. Read some of the gaps that are unfolding in front of you, get inside there, find ways to get underneath some blocks, and just kind of go after the quarterback or the ball carrier. Like, that he's not being asked to do anything that he's not comfortable with in space. I think we might see him be utilized more as a pass rusher down the stretch. That's one thing they really haven't done a whole lot with that I do think will add to the pass rush itself. But yeah, I do think that the game's slowing down a little bit for him, and it's helping him become an impactful player in the NFL.
Yeah, I agree. And I think it's only going to go more from here as we go forward. I'm going to take Julia's question down. Great one, Julia. Thank you for that. You can see we got a little bit of craziness here still going on. So that's okay. But Terry's the question that we were at. John Coy was next. Is Pacheco the number one RB at this point, Dan?
I think that he's your number one runner, but he's probably RB2 in the utilization sense because I think McKinnon is technically the guy that you're going to, especially like a fantasy football purpose, he's going to get the more meaningful touches. He's going to be out there on third down, and he's going to be making more impactful plays. And if you're in the red zone, you probably see more Pacheco, but I think McKinnon is technically the RB1, and it's like 1A and 1B with him and Pacheco.
Okay. Yeah. And I kind of agree with that too. I think there are matchups where maybe they flip them back. I don't think it's all said and done at this point. Good question, John. And Quentin, I know it's hard to see, but I'm trying to get back here. Thank you for the super chat. Appreciate you. Can you make heads or tails of the no call? As far as I can tell, no fine for Cisco on those two hits. The Cisco thing, the fine will come later in the week. That's the standard practice for the NFL. But the no call, the bigger thing for me was that the flag came out and then they picked it up. And I can't explain it.
There isn't any explaining it. It's a bonehead, bad decision. That's what it is. That's what it is. That's all it is. All you can say.
Oh, Sean, if my brother was in here, just please move along and ignore everything he might have been saying because he speaks the truth too often. Let's see. Pono, he had a question in there before. So what schemes do you come up with for Kadarius against the Chargers this week, knowing their defense? I have one or two concepts that I would like to trot out there. Dan, do you have anything off the top of your head?
I need to see him more of the same thing. More of the same. Get him on some jet sweeps. Let him get the ball in his hands early. But also, I don't necessarily think that the corner group is all that good. You can attack them down the field, but he just showed you that he can go up and get a football. I might let him try a couple times, especially if you can isolate him on one-on-one coverage. I'm looking to get the ball down the field, intermediate, just on some slants. Honestly, I'm throwing him in the game plan everywhere, and I'm just saying attack this defense because I think he can.
I have a specific matchup I want to see. I want them to do whatever they have to do to bring Derwin down into the box. Because I think Derwin wants to be in the box.
Yeah, for sure.
Derwin wants to be there. They need him there. They feel better when he's there. Fine. Bring him down because Tony can get away from him.
Yeah.
Maybe better than anybody else on this roster. So let him come. Bring him down. I'll hit the brakes. He'll fly right by. That's what I'm looking for because I think that's a matchup that they can actually win with this week.
Yeah.
That's hard to say for Derwin James, right? He is that good of a player.
Yeah.
But hey, take him apart, I say.
You never know.
Tone wanted to know, do they put in a claim for Jerry Tillery? Do you think so?
They did already. And
they did?
He was claimed by the Raiders earlier today. But yes, the Chiefs did put a waiver claim in on him like I assumed they would. They don't have Tershawn Wharton, and that would have been kind of like your one for one kind of player. You hope he can give you some pass rush on the inside if he makes it down to you on the waiver wire. But that's in my opinion, why they did it.
That was my thought too. Okay, I'm glad they did. I hadn't seen that confirmation.
Mm-hmm.
So, Anthony, do you see more production from Frank and Carl with the play on both sides with Chris and Colin now turning to 11 in time for the most important part of the season? Keep up the great work. Thank you, Anthony.
Thank you.
I do think when everybody's on the field, you're going to get more production overall. I don't know who will take the lead. Do you have a feel for that?
This pass rush goes as Chris Jones goes. So if Chris Jones is winning, they're going to get home. They're going to get more pressure from everybody. If he's not, if he's getting more doubled, it'll still take a while. They're not the pure one-on-ones. That's why you're seeing Chris Jones play on the outside a little bit more, is because they want him to get those one-on-ones. They want to force a double team on the inside with somebody and then let Chris Jones win one-on-ones. That they're going to do that a little bit more. And if he's winning on the inside and finding ways to get one-on-ones everywhere, everyone else will benefit from it. It's just kind of how it goes.
I agree. I'm totally down with that. We lost a bunch of folks. I'm going to make an appointment here. Would you answer Joseph's? And Joseph, thank you for your support.
Appreciate you for the super chat, Joseph. Of course, Allen and Williams will be back this week against the Chiefs. I think the Chiefs are better prepared this time around. So I don't know if Allen will be back. I think that he really might be almost close to being more of an end of the season player if they even make the playoffs. His injury has just continued on and continued on. He said it got worse over the bye week, which is never good for someone trying to get back into playing shape. So I don't know if he plays, but I'm very confident that Mike Williams will play. He was stretching out before the game on Sunday night yesterday. So I do think he'll play. They're going to be more prepared. I think that Spags will not let Mike Williams beat this defense. I think he'd much rather hope that guys like DeAndre Carter and Joshua Palmer are the ones that get the opportunity to, because I don't think either of them can and will be able to beat this defense.
I hope so. I think overall they're going to be in better shape. Let's see what happens, because there's always that weird Williams is Williams, and for some reason they just aren't afraid to put him up against anybody. I think that might change with Jalen Watson and Josh Williams. I think it might change with Trent McDuffie, although McDuffie in the length, this is one of those matchups where I kind of had pigeonholed as hey, let's be careful with Trent.
Yeah. Williams has more confidence now, so maybe he gives him a better run.
Yeah, very good. Very good. Okay, folks, I just put it out a community tweet. If you had pals that were in here and they dropped because I'm an idiot, just let them know. I'll tweet that out here in a second as well, because we're still going through the old questions. We don't need Nightbot, but join the Discord if you guys want to get into the group. Ryan, here's yours. Shout out to the O-line. Thought this might have been their most complete game of run and pass blocking, especially with Wiley for only half the game. They looked cohesive. Good to see. I like that concept. And I hope that they can double down on it, because I think it was a combination of all of the offensive line blocking, not just the interior three, and Pacheco. I think that's the 1-2 punch you need.
Yeah, and I would argue that their most complete was against the Buccaneers. That was definitely their most dominant. They were able to do whatever they wanted to. But again, you have to have that mindset, and I think that this game helped establish a little bit of it, and hoping they can keep that towards the rest of the season, because they're going to need it come January, December, to be able to run the football. I know people don't really put much stock in that anymore because Patrick has really done a great job at changing the way that offenses and defenses think about offenses. But I do think that they'll need a little bit of a run game to be able to run situationally when they have to.
Agreed. Let's see. Longmorn, thank you for the support. Why is Harris on the field so much for Gay? I don't think Harris played but 8 snaps, if I had the numbers correct. I'm double checking that right now.
I thought you said 4 earlier, so that would have been double what he said.
I'm sorry. It might have been 4 in coverage is what it might have been.
Oh, okay.
I'm double checking that right now. And it looks like Darius Harris had 5 total snaps, 3 in coverage. Okay. I must have misread that. So really the concept is only giving Willie a breather every now and then is what that comes down to. And that's perfectly fine for Willie. I think that protects him a little bit, gives it a little bit of a different look. And particularly if you feel like like they're going to double down on the run this game, I don't mind them putting Harris in there and letting him bash a few heads.
Yeah, Harris played well enough, in my opinion, to deserve some snaps, not just to be completely left behind by the defense. He played more than well enough to be able to come in and contribute, and they feel confident giving Willie a breather every now and then when they need to. So I'm totally okay with that.
Okay. I'm glad that we see it the same way. Let's see. I want to see more out of Sky, as we all do, I think.
Yep.
What is stopping him from getting higher production? I find it concerning Watson's getting higher snaps. Do you have a beat on it in particular?
I do. You're seeing all the veterans in the NFL get snaps. Andy Reid understands coming out of Western Michigan, his route tree wasn't very developed. And I one of the things that I said about Sky Moore, the game that he played, the very few snaps he played against Michigan, the only good team I got to watch him play against, he did have inconsistencies in creating separation when paired up against man coverage. Teams are playing more man coverage, and it's not just him going from Western Michigan to playing Michigan. It's going from Western Michigan to playing in the NFL. The athletes are completely different. Also, he's trying to learn a whole new playbook of routes that are so complex, and you have so many different things you have to know to break off of and having to adjust based on the coverage against you. So he's dealing with that. He's dealing with veterans in the offense, veterans in the NFL, guys that know where they're really supposed to be for the most part at times in an offense that are picking it up easier. So while we all want Sky to succeed, we want him to be the best he can be, this is a very large jump into the most complex wide receiver offense in the NFL. We have to give him some time. And again, the receivers that are already in Kansas City, they brought in another one who's a veteran. Yes, it was 1 year, but he's still a veteran. He's played in the NFL. He's learned the terminology. And again, he was at Florida. So Florida to the NFL, he is an elite athlete. A little bit different. You can trust him with some of these situations. So it's tough. Yeah. Next year is probably when you're going to see him take a leap. If he doesn't, then you can start to get worried that maybe the leap was too much from Western Michigan to the NFL for him.
And that will still correct itself with time. There's still time to make up for that. So I'm not too concerned. I'm going to switch for a second, just back to FLDB, letting me know on the main stream now.
All right.
Yes, I did see there's a couple more super chats in there. I'm going to get through those on the old, and then we'll get back here to the new. Looks like people are starting to come back over as I let them know on social media. Hopefully that straightens itself out. I see a lot of Tony related stuff. MVS. I don't know about MVS. Should have been a penalty. Certainly the Juju one should have. I think it was borderline on the MVS hit. I'm okay with that either way. Do you have a strong take on that, Dan?
It's not a particularly strong one. I thought that he was just a defensive receiver and you're hitting him blindly. So that's why I thought it should have at least been a penalty.
Yeah, absolutely. You can't protect yourself. That's what the penalty's for. So Belisarius, shout out to Colin Saunders. I'd like to check him, but eventually need to start on working on play action. Agreed. I think they both have still higher ceiling to get to, but Saunders has been a really nice surprise. This is what I'd hoped for 2 years ago from him.
Yeah.
So he's getting there. Avery wanted to know, and everybody check out Avery and what he's doing at ADI. Who's the edge that's going to be there when they pick and you're pounding the table for? I'm not ready to pound the table for any of these guys yet, but Jared Verse is on my list. I have not watched his 22 yet, Avery. I'm sure you'll tell me why. Dan, have you seen him yet?
I haven't been able to see any Florida State tape to get a good look on him. Hoping to be able to this week, but I mean, I'm not pounding the table for anybody either, but I do really like BJ Ojulari. I really do.
Okay. I enjoy his game as well, and I think it's a nice, well-rounded game.
Yeah.
I do see him as more of a 3-4 OLB rather than a 4-3 end, but
yeah, I get it.
That's the way that it goes. That's all right. This is from Jaden before on the old stream. Thanks for always supporting my podcast. Absolutely, buddy. And your business. Tony playing well. Is OBJ out? Not necessarily. And 1 to 10, how likely is Hardman and Juju back for 23? I'd give Hardman a 3. I'll give Juju a 7.
Yeah, I would say 3 for Hardman as well, but I'm leaning closer to 8 for Juju.
Are you? Okay.
I
Cool.
think they're gonna get it done.
Rock and roll. I like that. And thank you. Appreciate
you,
the patience, Jaden. And happy to let you know. As you guys can see, this is a little sneak behind the curtain. This is what I look at when we're doing the stream. And that's why I don't see everything. Yeah. So just so you guys know, it's always that. Yeah, behind the scenes at RGR. You nailed it, Julia. There's always something going on here, right? Let's see. JP, I have not looked at who the best free agents are going to be, but we'll get to that eventually. John, will McDuffie be on Williams if he plays? McDuffie will likely be on a side. He did flip a little bit yesterday, but I expect them to give him an area and let him kind of take that. And if Williams walks in, he'll take it on.
I would hope that they employ a little bit of what Bill Belichick has done against the Chiefs for so many years. Put your second best cover corner on Mike Williams and then shade a safety over top and put Trent McDuffie on their secondary player and have him shut him down. I think he can shut down Josh Palmer. I don't think Josh Palmer is a very good player. So I think Trent McDuffie can do a really good job on that. And I think it's best for their defense to do exactly what I just said.
Yeah, I can understand where you're coming from. Let's see, Lance, any word on Eric Fisher? I haven't heard a peep about him at all. Would he be an upgrade from Wiley? Had he been in the season, possibly? At this, I see it hard to think that he's in shape, so I can't say that it necessarily is. 4 or 5 weeks ago, sure. Nothing's out of the realm of possibility, though. We could see it.
Yeah, for sure.
Chiefer, thoughts on Lamont's play kick return where he dove in the ball on the one and pushed it into the end zone? I don't know.
So
go ahead.
Based on the rule, he apparently knew that the player, one of the Jaguars player had touched the football. Because as soon as they do, apparently, this is something I learned yesterday. As soon as they touch the football, it doesn't matter who touches it on Kansas City. They can try to force it into the end zone and get it to be a touchback. So I think Lamont had to have seen it touch Jaguars player, and he was trying to get it into the end zone to get a touchback. So it's a smart play because he has no risk to essentially turn the football back over to the Jaguars at that point.
Yeah. Okay. I agree with that. And I like the way that that's going. If he knows a rule that I didn't know. So, hey.
Yeah, I didn't know that. I learned it. I was like, cool. All right.
Avery, what will show up being the more impactful difference between the secondary this time compared to last time we played LAC? McDuffie's presence or Joshua Williams' increase in confidence? I think the bigger play potential is Williams, but he also hasn't gone up against anybody like Williams. Mike, that is. Sorry, Williams and Williams. I think McDuffie's going to be almost a non-story, really, because I think they're going to try to put the third receiver on him most of the time.
Yeah, I just think that Joshua Williams is going to have a nice little, like the first game, it was Jalen Watson playing pretty well, and he had the pick six. I think this one is going to be Josh Williams playing more snaps and getting a little bit of that. Okay, I'm here. And Watson was great. I think that Williams is starting to take a little bit over in that duo role that they have. I think Williams is starting to edge out Watson as specifically the type of player they're looking for, a little bit of more of a press physical guy who's going to be better in those man coverage sets that they want to run. So I think it's going to be Josh Williams shutting down, hopefully with a little safety help over the top, Mike Williams.
Let me retweet this out and we'll get everybody back in here.
Okay.
As my alarm starts to go off.
There you go.
Let me ask your opinion on this next one. Where did it go? I think we covered several of these. This one.
Thank you for the question, Steve. Do you think the Chiefs will be interested in running back Josh Jacobs in free agency this offseason? Absolutely not. And that's not because he's not talented. He's an extremely talented running back. But I think the Chiefs should, if they don't already, understand the value of running backs without tread on their tires that aren't going to be expensive and that are young. They know they should be able to get running backs into this offense, specifically guys like Pacheco or Jacobs that have that talent, that speed that they're looking for to get in space. And you should get that at a younger, cheaper commodity than a guy who's looking to get paid, and it should not be in Kansas City.
I think you're probably right. Patrick, it's pretty clear that after yesterday's game, the question is, will Juju, even with his injury, do they really need OBJ? We talked about this a little bit. Need is a stretch, but having enough weapons in the arsenal is what you got to do for Patrick, so that if it comes to an injury, say, if I don't think they're going to have to play wild card week, but say that the first round of the playoffs, if you have a significant injury there, if Juju were to go down again, like, you need to have something else that you can feel like can step in and hit the ground running and be the weapon that they need him to be. And I think OBJ is that myself.
Yeah, I'm with you there.
Okay, cool. Mayor James, thank you very much. Appreciate you. Dan, did you see another comment from the mayor?
He had a question that was not too far off of there, but if it was in the chat, then
I will go back and search in a moment.
It was not too far after Gold Tow's super chat. It was like a few questions right after it.
Rock and roll. Okay, I will go find that. Gold Tao, thank you for the support. Mayor, thank you for the support. Forgot number one goal, win the division. Let's get it this Sunday. I agree with you. And the rest of them, it's on fire. Every ship except the Chiefs in the AFC West is on fire right now. They're going down.
They are down. Like, they're going real far down. Like, it's not good.
You remember that? You remember when the Titanic cracked in half and both of them started? That's what I envision in the AFC West right now. Oh, Des, thank you for the support. What week would we be able to clinch the division? I mean, I think you have Raiders is the last game of the year. I think Denver's 2 weeks before that, and 3 weeks before that. So, like, the very earliest I would think would be that first Denver game, which is the first week of December. I think that's what it is.
I think so. They're going to give themselves a real good opportunity to continue to increase that lead this weekend on Sunday Night Football against the Chargers. Starts there. Try not to think too much ahead of it myself, but I do think December, that first week of December, is, if they're playing all the way through November like they should, will be that time where they can start to at least think about it.
Okay. Yeah, I'm down with that. Bill, it's still early, but if Miami and KC stay hot and the Chiefs see Miami in the playoffs, how would you expect us to approach that game defensively? That's a great question, Bill.
Oh, man. So the best thing that they do right now is get the ball out quickly based off of one person reads. So that would really lean itself into them blitzing, into beating the Chiefs blitz. The guys get open quick, and it would be very easy for Tua to be able to read that, see a blitz coming, and know where he's supposed to go with the football. The best defense might actually be dropping a bunch of guys into coverage and just forcing him to hold the football, which is really against Steve Spagnuolo's MO there. Maybe some overload blitzes if you think he's going to be reading to his right or to his left or whatever you want to think. Try to get some overloads on one side to make him hold the football. You drop some defensive ends off the opposite side into the passing lanes, make them hold it, get some sacks there. That's probably what I'm thinking is best.
Yeah, I like that plan. I mean, no one knows how to defend Tyreek better than Andy, and obviously Jalen Waddle's a little Tyreek. So I think you have to have some concepts that include over the top coverage. I think I want to see Cook back there rather than Reed, just because I think the overall speed has to be there, and Cook has that advantage. So that's what I would do myself. Alex, yes, we had the dropout. I see you're back in the regular chat on the new one, so kudos to you. We'll answer James, and then we'll be caught up from the old one. I know we're almost out of time anyway, but hey, we're gonna do a little bit extra. Do you think there's a chance that they bring Eli in at any point? Ely, who's Ely?
Jerrion Ely just came back from his suspension.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I was looking for the A. I don't recognize his name without it. You never know. I like his potential. Like, I thought he had somebody that should be on the practice squad and see what he can become.
Yeah, he's a scat back, and he's someone who can, especially if, I mean, you're not really talking if, McKinnon gets hurt because he can't pass protect to save his life, much less the quarterback's life. It would be more of a strict pass catching opportunity. And if they have some injuries, maybe to a McCole Hardman for a longer period of time, you look to bring him in. But other than that, he's on the practice squad. I don't think he's going to play this season.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good estimation of what's going on here. We're back on the regular stream, the current stream now. And Night Hunter, you're late because of a birthday gift yesterday. My bedroom makeover and is red and gold. Well, congrats to you. You didn't miss anything because the stream totally got screwed up tonight thanks to the interwebs. So welcome, and you didn't miss a thing, buddy. So let's get into these. We're going to go quick because we're well over time if we get into all these, but a lot of them we haven't touched on. Sean, I don't know what was said, but I'm going to have to get with him because if he's riding in here running me down, well, that would be him. So my brother's the greatest, and if you guys are in case you need a photographer, let me know. Thoughts on the Chargers game? It is that rivalry. Playbooks, generic or otherwise, kind of go out the door because when you know guys this well, it just becomes a face-to-face. Like, I think it becomes about physicality inside the division myself.
Yeah, I think this one has to. I think you're kind of seeing that the Chargers are a little bit of a finesse team too. They don't really want to establish anything. So you should be able to be more physical in this game and win pretty convincingly.
I agree. On paper, it shouldn't be close. OBJ hopes to sign with the team by the end of the month. Given recent injuries, do you think that they will? Just bottom line, yay or nay, do you think they do it?
I think no. I don't think he's healthy.
Okay. I will just for the sake of argument say he's all good. He's relaxing by the pool right now, and he's waiting on his time so he doesn't have to train that hard. I'm down. I think it might happen. You guys remember when he got hurt in the Super Bowl? I think I said it in March. Late October is the time I would look for him. So, hey, let's see if I'm Nostradamus. I have no idea. Maybe a loose nut behind the keyboard. It may be, Rod. I don't know what's going on. B Idaho, with Tony seeming to be more trust in the coaching staff than Sky has already, why do you think that despite them both being young and in a new system? I don't necessarily that it's trust from the coaching staff. I think, and everything that I've heard is that he's been knee deep in the playbook since he got to town. And Patrick seems to be giving him some specific attention, much like he gave Sky in the off-season workouts, especially when they were in Texas. We saw that video of Patrick working with Sky all the time. Something just has clicked a little bit quicker, and I think that's that year of experience of being in the NFL. Do you think it's something else, Dan?
No, that's honestly what I think it is. And it's also the fact that his skill set is different than anybody else's that they have. So I think that there's been just an obvious need to incorporate him more into the offense. And that's not Sky's fault. He's still learning the offense, and it takes time, but you can script things specifically for Tony because he adds an element to this offense that nobody else does. So it adds a little bit of urgency to their offense is all.
I'm with you. If you had to choose a player between Jamal Charles, Houston, and Barry, who would you choose? They're all in their prime. The max of each guy, who's the best of them?
What are you doing to me here? What is this question? Okay.
Really interesting tone.
The answer is Jamal Charles because he makes them unguardable. He makes it unstoppable to guard against the offense. You can't stop it. It's impossible.
He is, and let's be blank. He should be a Hall of Famer. There is no question. He has to be. If Terrell Davis can be a Hall of Famer, Jamal Charles has to be a Hall of Famer. I can't say that about Justin Houston or Eric Berry. I love Justin Houston. I called it before he came there because I saw his potential, even though he played in a 340, dropped half the time in college. Drove me nuts. But Jamal Charles is that elite, whereas Justin is very, very good.
I'm just gonna say it right now. I love seeing what Justin Houston's doing right now in Baltimore. I'm very happy for him. He's been healthy. I think that's showing you that what he could have been if he was healthy all the time. It sucks, but Jamal would have been an all-time great had he stayed healthy. All time. I still think he is, but
I mean, hey, when you're in the conversation with Gale Sayers and with Jim Brown, that kind of sets the tone for what it really is. You know what I mean?
Green water bottle.
I agree.
It's like green water bottles, Daddy.
It's hard to find sometimes.
Wash both of them.
If you guys would like this one, I know you probably liked the last one. Sorry for the internet messing up tonight, but I know you're all subscribers or you wouldn't be here because when stuff goes wrong, I know you guys come through. So I appreciate that. Hi.
Camera's right there. Look, the camera's right there.
Who do you guys see as the wide receiver 1 through 6 right now? I'm concerned he's seeing Watson getting more snaps than Sky. I can understand that. I'm not concerned. I think right now, Sky is just not quite clicking where he can be confident where he's going and attack. Whereas I think Tony can. I think that's the difference. So I would probably put Sky as 6. I mean, just in terms of offense.
Yeah, and that's fine. It's not his fault. Like he's got to learn it. But I think that you're going to see Tony be the 3 or the 2 by the season's end, and Juju will be the 1. I honestly think that's how it's going to be.
I agree. Chris, thank you. Do you think Buffalo is pressing knowing that Kansas City was on their heels? I think that's always in the back of your mind. I have a story about how the team reacted this last weekend as Buffalo was going into overtime. Folks that were in the locker room thought it was very intriguing how much attention was paid to it. Like instantly, some quarterback that we all know and love let everybody know what the situation was, and it turns very quickly. That happens around the league. Early games finish, you start watching the others. That it's either on the radio or it's on in a TV in the locker room. I think that's very true in Buffalo as well. There's always an eye on Kansas City because right now they're in the flipped role, right? Everyone picked them to go to the Super Bowl over the Chiefs. I think it does breathe down their neck.
Yeah, this is classic case of we are the rising up and coming team. Everyone pay attention to us. We got to keep an eye on the guys that are always beating us in the playoffs, and then you slip. I think that this has happened a couple times to Kansas City before they came into winning the Super Bowl. So it's just I do think that Joshua Allen's going to win one eventually, but I will never bet against Patrick Mahomes when he's this dialed in. And that's what it is. Like this is the Brady type of mentality in terms of he's never not engaged. Mahomes is always engaged. He's always engaged, and he's always looking for it.
Yeah, he's almost to that point where he's making stuff up, like Jordan and Brady. And I'm okay with that. I can't stand it in Brady, but it is what it is.
This offseason, he didn't have to. It was everywhere.
True.
It was everywhere.
On the money, you're absolutely right. She's
you.
adorable, and eventually she will replace me on this show completely, so it'll be fine.
She'll just have her own. What are you talking about?
Jaden, thank you again, buddy. Is GK coming along? What's your thought on him, and is Tony going to be the wide receiver 1 by the end of the season? It's clear that Pat is the best in the world. Pat is the best in the world.
Yep.
I don't think Juju gets replaced. I think I could see them being the top 2 targets outside of Kels.
That's how it will be. Right now, honestly, I think it already is. I think it already is. Tony adds something they don't have. Juju has shown himself to be trustworthy in the number 1, and Tony they want to get him the football. So it's what it is right now.
Well, and what he just did was prove that when stuff goes wrong, he's a guy you can go to for some help, and he will help you get things done.
Yep.
That's the ultimate in confidence. It's about getting the W, and I'll give him credit. He looks like he's matured pretty dramatically from when I spoke to him pre-draft down at the Senior Bowl, and everything that I heard about him then. It looks like this year of hell in New York has matured him and gotten him to the point where he understands where he's got to be, at least initially in Kansas City.
Yeah.
Let's not get comfortable, but you never know.
And to answer your question on GK, this is what we thought he would be for the most part. He's being reduced inside to play on some pass rushing snaps. He's been a very good run defender, but he's still a little slow in winning one-on-ones. Just going to take time. Let him get there. I think the pressures will turn into more sacks down the road.
I'd like to see him spend the offseason with Tamba and just work handwork.
That'd be nice.
He gets that. It's going to improve him, but he is crushing pockets like he can. And I think that is paying dividends. Jaden, thank you for the support. And please,
you,
if you get with Ryan White, I know he had said something yesterday. I tried to connect you guys, but I think I screwed it up in the comment section. So if you reach out, that'd be great. I know he wants to touch base. Alex, Tony switchiness reminds me of Hills, not the speed, but he can be super well and quick. And that's the thing. It's the cuts. If you guys get a chance, when we're done here, go watch the short that I put up before we came on. It looks like it's doing pretty well. And it will highlight what we'll show later in Dan's film room this week, but it highlights exactly what that is and the fact that he's able to plant his foot and get DBs to bite hard, and he's gone. It's great. And that is very much like Tyreek.
Yep.
Pat could throw for 5,000, maybe 48 to 50 touchdowns. Do you think he'll get MVP? He does that, it's done.
In the bag.
I don't think he necessarily gets there.
I think he's going to go over 5,000 yards. I do think he will. We'll see on the touchdowns, but I think he's going to get over 5,000 yards.
I hope he does. I have a sinking suspicion that if he continues this, teams are going to start going to honestly, I think they're going to throw cover 4 at everything and just like play patty cake, and then it's going to make him have to go underneath. But I know we're long, folks. I'm just looking for other questions that we haven't covered in here. and I will get that. Thank you, FLDB. I do believe I got back to everybody's super chats. I've answered everyone that was in the previous chat. I know we got one or two more here, and we'll get that. Who do you think is the underrated player on offense and defense? The most underrated?
McKinnon's the most underrated player on offense. He's been not just consistent, he's been a spark plug multiple times for this team when they've needed big plays. He's been a great outlet player for them. On defense, I still think that Justin Reed doesn't get enough love. Justin Reed, he's got some issues missing tackles at times, but I do think he is very much a focal point of the respect, the leadership of the secondary, as well as the whole team. And while that doesn't count for a whole lot when you're active on Twitter and you mouth off a lot, it does show you that I think that Justin Reed's been able to bring everyone together and be a respected person in the locker room. And it's showing on the field. He's making some plays too. He's coming down. He is laying some hits, and he's not afraid to. So I think he's been a pretty underrated player. He doesn't get talked about a lot because he's a safety, but he's coming in, he's blitzing, he's covering guys one-on-one, being asked to play a slot receiver at times, which I thought was weird, but he's doing everything he can to help the defense.
I agree with you. And I'll say this, I haven't given Carlos Dunlap enough credit.
Yeah,
I'm trying to correct that. I think we've been pumping up the guys that deserve it in Nick Bolton and Colin Saunders lately, and we need to continue that. And I'll say this too. I was high on Willie, and I made sure to highlight everything he did well and the things that he did poorly. He looks better after his return, and I think he's rounding into even better shape going forward.
I'm with you.
Thank you, Swag Boy. We appreciate you. Tom, next RGR guest host is Bart Scott left. No. You guys are great for putting up with that crap on TV. I don't watch any of that. So, tear them all down as far as I say.
Yeah, as soon as he gets on, I turn off TV, man. I can't listen to that dude talk.
Right. Oh. Cavelli, we'll find out more later this week. Miss Holly, thank you for the support.
Appreciate you, Holly.
Do you think having an earlier bye week, relatively speaking, and that's very important, compared to the recent years will be beneficial, detrimental, or no impact? I am concerned it was going to be detrimental. So far, it looks like they're weathering the storm injury-wise pretty well. Yeah,
and that's what it all comes down to, is that they have had relatively good luck on the injury front this season. They've had some, they got out early, and hopefully they're going to be able to round into form, and it's not going to be too bad. But you like to see that bye later in the season because it does help when you have those bumps and bruises, and it gives you that last little oomph to push into the postseason, at least I think.
Yeah, I'm down. I mean, and honestly, it gives us a little break too, because you're watching film constantly. We're trying to keep up, and it's crazy how much stuff goes on and how much goes into a week around here, let alone in the actual building. So I think there's a lot to it. Holly, thank you for your support, and we're going to round it out and get everybody else's. Let's see. Remember when the Chiefs weren't expected to win the AFC? I mean, every year it's Chargers are going to take control. Okay, I'll believe it when I see it. The Chiefs win the Super Bowl. Do you think EB finally gets a job or college coaching? I hope so. Otherwise, it's going to be an inamicable parting, I think, in Kansas City.
I think he'll be a college head coach next year.
I hope so.
I think so.
Mahomes for him. Or unless I said that wrong, who knows?
Mahomes is him.
Oh, is him? Okay, that too. Do you think that the second most dangerous team in the AFC? Who do you think it is right now?
I do believe it's the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
And that's not because I still think that Allen's the best quarterback outside of Mahomes. The offense right now that they're running in Miami is second to only Kansas City in the NFL. And in some aspects, it's better. Yeah, that's just what it is. And that kind of speed, they're not lying. Speed kills. It's dangerous. It's very dangerous.
Yeah,
it's very.
There is no substitute. It just, you can do things you can't do otherwise, and it is scary with Jalen. And I'm losing it tonight. I was just reading something about Jaden, so sorry, Jaden. I'll get to you in a sec. Good Lord, I'm about out of it here, folks. We got that one. Ryan, thank you. Night Hunter, thank you. And I'm glad you guys got connected there, Ryan. That's great. I'm glad to hear it. I am here to facilitate. Yes, Scott, I did. Thank you very much. Appreciate the shout out. I do believe I got everyone, and I'm going to check my other tabulation, make sure I didn't miss anything. Got Will's, got Tom's, Jaden's, Holly's, and got Tom Flores. That's great. I'm late, but I want to say, making my job way better listening to you on the AirPods.
Awesome.
I like it, Oscar.
Appreciate you, Oscar.
That's awesome. If the bosses are there and you get static, just tell them I said it was okay.
Yeah, me too. So just
fine.
don't worry about it.
Right.
These aren't the droids you're looking for. Just
right. Over on how many rings does Mahomes get?
3. I would put the over under at 3.
Okay, I can live with that. I was going to say 4, but I can live with 3. Last question from Avery. Thank you guys for tonight, for everything. Hit the like, the sub, and the bell, and we'll try to keep this on one stream next time. Thanks. Ryan, can you send you on Locked On Draft discussing Hyatt from UT? What would it take for you to have him over edge offensive tackle? It would have to take a significant signing at both those positions in free agency. Doesn't have to be star signings for me, but guys that they feel can start.
I still wouldn't take him.
No,
you
just don't like him, huh?
I love his speed, but for me, this is McCole Hardman.
Okay,
I see the same type of player. I don't see much of the change of direction. I don't see the route tree. I see an offense in Tennessee that is built to let him take advantage of space and just run down the field. I just don't. I wouldn't take him in the first round.
Okay, I can live with that. I see him as a wide receiver too. I don't know that he can ascend to the point where he can take on man and be the guy, but season ain't over yet. Let's see what else happens.
Yep.
And I do believe he's a junior. So, I mean, I think it'd be silly if he went back, but he could. You never know.
Yeah.
Glad you went cold turkey. I hope you're dealing with the shakes okay, Miss Holly. And thank you very much. We appreciate it. I know it's not the smoothest night tonight, but we got her done. You know what I mean?
Every time. We always will.
My identical twin. Yeah, that should be, that'll be interesting. I'll get a new setup with 6 cameras. It'll be hideous. It'll be awesome.
Somebody want to clip that and get it right, up on this.
Yeah. You never know. Okay, got all the super chats. Thank you for your patience. Thanks for, I mean, hey, we got 450 of the 500 that were in here before got back. So cheers to you guys. We'll be smoother next week, I guarantee it. But thank you. Check out that short and see what you think of Tony. Dan's going to have more on it this week in the actual 22 breakdown. I'm going to have a little bit of clip because I have a new concept. I grab my best plays in my notes now, and I'm recording them so I can look at them later. And if I can find something else, I'll make another short. And I think that's the way that we'll go in getting you guys the glimpses that we see that go into our analysis. And again, if you don't know us, we break it down from a football perspective. It's not as much hype. I don't like Herd either, Coward, or whatever the hell his name is, because I don't listen to those guys. I understand your pain. I just don't know what you guys are talking about half the time because I don't listen to those dudes. So we're just here from our perspective. I thank you guys for being here to listen to our perspective. We have coming for you. Seth actually made it home. So while his piece didn't go up this morning, he will be back later in the week for Chief in the North. Gary's up tomorrow. You guys have a great night. Enjoy Monday Night Football. We'll talk to you next time.